Hey everyone, Austin here again with another quick play. Today it's going to be Mega Man 10, specifically played on the Mega Man Legacy Collection 2. This is the PS4 version being played on a PS5, and this game has given me a lot of trouble. I had never beat this game when it first came out. I did play it a little bit, but much like Mega Man 9, I didn't really try to dive into it seriously until in more recent years. Mega Man 9 I really enjoyed. Mega Man 10, on the other hand, while I have enjoyed parts of it, it has also been a major pain in my rear. I went through the game about 3 or 4 times. It was kind of troublesome to learn. The bosses move really, really fast, and I have to rely on boss weaknesses in this, whereas I don't really have to do that in other Mega Man games. And also, I even tried streaming this on YouTube. We did a couple playthroughs where they were super sloppy, and then I bombed out with a Proto Man run, and I just kind of went into rage mode, and I gave up. And so that stream is no longer available. But here I am again recording yet another quick play. This is actually my second quick play of this game. The first one I thought wasn't suitable enough to upload, and so to not have a Mega Man 10 video on my channel after going through all that practice would be ridiculous. So I'm kind of forcing myself to do this playthrough. I don't normally do that. I try not to force myself to do playthroughs here, but a lot of people have asked about Mega Man 10 over the years, and I'm one of those, people where if I'm gonna, go at it at a series like Mega Man, I want to try to knock out all, like, the mainline games eventually on my channel. It doesn't have to be overnight. It could be over a long course of time, as this is the case with Mega Man 10. I mean, this game has been out 10 of the 13 years, actually 12 of the 13 years I've had a YouTube channel. So this game on my channel is long overdue, honestly. And I know, again, people have asked about it. They want to see me play through the game. They want to see me talk about the game. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Hopefully we have a smooth-ish run. I'm going to be doing a very specific route where I go for one boss and use his sub-weapon on another boss and as the weakness, and just kind of go through the bosses one by one using the weaknesses. Otherwise, this game is just insanely difficult by classic Mega Man standards. I know there are harder games out there. This is far from the hardest game ever made, but it is, compared to previous classic Mega Man games, really, really challenging. And that's just on the normal difficulty with Mega Man. You do have Bass. He comes as automatically unlocked in the Legacy Collection, whereas in the old versions back in the day, it was DLC. Then there's Proto Man as well, which is both easier and harder to play with. He takes so much more damage that some parts are much, much more challenging with him, but other parts are easier because he has a charged Mega Buster, whereas Mega Man does not in this game. Mega Man himself is also fairly challenging to play with because it almost feels like the game was designed with Bass in mind. Like, Bass can shoot in any direction, his equivalent to Rush can fly, and he just has so much more flexibility than the other two characters. So, if you're going to play this game for the first time, I might even recommend playing as Bass. It'll ease you into the game, sort of dip your toes into the water, as opposed to, like, throw yourself into the fire. But yeah, we're going to be playing with Mega Man, who is kind of a decent balance between the two characters, but is still a lot harder than Bass. And some parts are going to be a little frustrating to deal with here, probably, but we'll just kind of wing it and see what happens. Also, I've been using a PlayStation 3 controller on my PS5 using a Mayflash adapter, but today I'm actually switching back to my DualShock 4. We're just going to kind of see how this works here. But let's go ahead and just do a new game. Again, Mega Man, Proto Man, and Bass. It shows you their abilities. Bass can actually do a dash move, much like X in the Mega Man X games, and then he can jump, and just like X, he'll do a farther jump. It's really cool, although it's not as snappy as the dash with X, and so it takes a little while to get used to that if you're used to the Mega Man X games. Proto Man has Mega Man's classic slide. It will go under enemies that are more than one tile high off the floor, which is pretty cool, and his shield is insanely useful in this game. If you decide to play as Proto Man, you have to get used to using the shield. If you try to play Proto Man like he's Mega Man, you're gonna take lots of hits, and all enemies do at least double damage, I think, with Proto Man. There's some enemies where it's like, you know, it'll take a third of your health bar, almost half your health bar. You'll die in 3 hits, basically. Mega Man is obviously the more balanced of the bunch. You know, he doesn't take that much damage compared to Proto Man, so yeah. And we're going to start with Mega Man. You do have difficulty levels. If you're going to ever play this game for the first time, if for some reason you're new to this game, you decide you want to get into it, play easy. I'm usually not the kind of person to recommend that. I always say start with normal, but normal is hard in this game. And then there's also a hard mode, an actual hard mode on top of that. Don't touch this until you master normal, but if you want to have fun with the game, that's the key word here, fun, F-U-N, I would start on easy and see how that goes for you, and then move to normal, because even normal can be very frustrating. So, okay, with that, let's jump into it. We're going to start off here with Blade Man. And the reason I start off with Blade Man is he has a fairly consistent pattern, and it's, you know, it's one of the easier patterns, I'd say, to react to, and once I defeat him, I can use his sub-weapon to go to another boss and then just annihilate that next boss. And then I feel like I'm in a good rhythm after that point, and the game isn't so daunting. It is definitely, of the classic first 10 Mega Man games, you know, of the classic Megas, it is the most daunting of the bunch, in my opinion. Well, let's Mega Man 8 aside, and 7 actually. When I say classic Megas, I really mean the NES games, Mega Man's 1 through 6. That's what I'm comparing it to. It's the same style, visually, gameplay-wise. It's in that same league, basically. So when I say classic Megas, I really mean Mega Man's 1 through 6. And it is by far the hardest of all those. Like, it's miles ahead of those games in terms of difficulty. However, just like those games, you do have to have a lot of discipline if you want to play well. So this is a mini-boss here. This game does like its mini-bosses. There's quite a few of them in this game, which is fine. I like classic Mega Man mini-bosses. I have a soft spot for them. You've got these turrets up top that like to shoot. And we have these platforms that constantly push forward, and we have to use them as platforms. And with Mega Man here, I'm just trying to jump up and hit the weak spots, which is basically those 3 sets of eyeballs. With base, you can shoot in a bunch of different directions, and you can basically just stay on the ground with base and destroy those eyeballs without having to get on those platforms. So it's much easier with base, which is again why I definitely recommend playing as base first, as opposed to playing as Mega Man first. Ironically, in a game called, you know, with the title that includes Mega Man, the game is pretty frustrating with the leading title character's name. So I would actually recommend playing as base first, before you even touch Mega Man, honestly. When I was streaming this game, I kind of, you know, referred to it as like Mega Man X6 syndrome, where Mega Man X6 has the option to play as Unarmored X, which is how you would normally start previous Mega Man X games. You always start as Unarmored X, and then you find armor pieces, you get upgraded slowly, and that's the game's balanced around that. But in Mega Man X6, if you play as Unarmored X, it is like the ultra hard mode baked into the game. You're not actually supposed to play as Unarmored X in that game. The game is not balanced or designed around it at all, and it is a nightmare to play, especially if you've never played the game before and you don't know what you're doing. It's meant to be played with the Falcon armor, which has like air dashing and stuff like that. It's just, and that's what this is like. It's like, it feels like this wasn't designed to be played with Mega Man out of the box. Like, you're supposed to master the game first, then play as Mega Man. At least that's kind of the gist I've gotten from it. So, but yeah, this is Blade Man. We got to get into a rhythm here with his blades. He does a 3-way spread shot with them, and occasionally what'll happen is he'll stop on the wall, and he will actually dive immediately towards you wherever you are on the screen in this arena. Now, he hasn't done it yet, but we have to keep an eye out for it. he'll just do this like the entire fight sometimes. And I am not successfully dodging some of his projectiles here. But they're so fast. Like, look at how fast these are. And this is normal for Mega Man 10. The issue is when you're playing as Mega Man doesn't have the resources that Proto Man or Bass have. Like, Bass has dashing, Proto Man has ground sliding, and just like in Mega Man 3 and up, that is a way to get around fast-moving objects. But these bosses don't feel like they were designed with Mega Man in mind, and so when you play this game for the first time, if you decide to play as Mega Man, you're gonna be in for a hard time with these bosses, and you just have to be aware of that going into the game. Like, Blade Man was the first boss I fought when I first played this game, and I was like, what the hell am I up against? What is this? Is this even a Mega Man boss? Mega Man bosses are usually balanced a little bit better. Now, there's always been the exception, like Shadow Man in Mega Man 3, Quick Man in Mega Man 2, you know, trying to fight those guys with just the Mega Buster is extremely difficult and really unfair. So with that, we're gonna go to Strike Man, which is our second character. Blade Man is the weakness on Strike Man. This is like a sporting themed level, which is kind of neat. Maybe a little out of place, but I mean, what are you gonna do when it's the 10th Mega Man, right? But yeah, this level has some pretty nasty design choices as well, specifically the mini-boss style. Now, some of these lockers are going to open up, and you can go ahead and shoot these guys. I like to take my time on these parts, really, and I'm going to take my time on this part too, because these guys are annoying. They will speed up towards you, but if you shoot them, they will also shoot you. So we've got this soccer ball, and it's very difficult to predict. I still have never really successfully done it, but the idea is to jump on these things and work your way up to the top, shoot that guy in the head, which when you're just using the standard Mega Buster, it can be a little difficult, as you can see. Alright, jump up here, grab these items. I'd love the ground slide right now, but I can't, because Mega Man doesn't have that in this game. Now, he didn't have that in Mega Man 9 either. But Mega Man 9, I feel, was designed a little bit better. It was more balanced, at least, I should say. You know, whether the game was actually better or not is really a matter of preference, I will say. But Mega Man 9 always felt like it was much, much more balanced than Mega Man 10. Alright, so these baseballs like to home in on you after they're thrown out. Okay, we'll go ahead and grab that. We don't really need to ride these soccer balls, but we can. And we'll go ahead and grab these bolts here. So bolts are currency in this game. They're little tiny ones. I think they only give you about 2 bolts. But there are these gigantic ones. They give you 20. 20 is really good. If you ever see them, pick them up. Now the significance of those things is that you can end up buying really good goodies. Energy tanks, extra lives, M-tanks, weapon energy tanks, and whatnot. Now I actually discovered I can actually jump in between these soccer balls to grab that extra life, and then just shoot them and come on back down here. Now, one other trick I did learn a little while ago is I can use Rush Coil here. And hit Rush, and, you know, get some free hits, kind of like this. It uses up weapon energy, but it is one way of doing damage to this guy. Oh, oops. I hit the wrong thing, which brought up my menu, but that's okay. I could also probably use Blade Man's weapon here. Probably wouldn't be the worst thing ever. But I'm not going to worry about it. What I'm going to do is just try to kill these guys, see if they drop some health. A lot of times they will. If you've gone through a mini-boss in particular, it seems like these enemies tend to drop some health, which is nice. I got a little bit back, so nothing too crazy, but there is a refill right here. And got hit by that homing projectile. That's okay, not a big deal. And more enemies. Hopefully they drop some more health. Yep, there we go. Alright, so there is going to be some big bolts up here. And the timing on our jumps actually has to be really good here, otherwise we're not going to actually hit these things. Actually, you know what? I wonder if I could just do it off this ball right here. See, I'm actually very curious now. So that goes up to about that first window, that gray window. Okay, so this ball does actually go a little bit higher. Okay. Yeah, I never really realized that until now. Okay, interesting. But it is possible to actually, you know, get up to those bolts with just a regular jump. But this game has respawn syndrome too. The enemies will respawn like crazy, which makes this part extra annoying. Trying to get these bolts extra annoying. Boom, got it. It has to be like a perfect jump. But it is definitely worth it, because basically what I just did there is I gave myself the ability to buy another energy tank or something like that, with just those 2 bolts that I just got. Let's go ahead and use the shoulder keys to cycle over to Blade Man's weapon. What I'm going to do first is use one attack from the ground. If you use Blade Man's weapon from the ground, you shoot it at an angle going upwards. And then if you jump, you'll actually shoot it downwards. Takes a little while to get used to. And you can also destroy his projectile with Blade Man's attack. Now, I'm not doing a very good job of showing this off. My blade attack went underneath his projectile multiple times, so that wasn't good. But Blade Man does insane damage on Strike Man there, so if you're trying to beat this game by using the weaknesses, I would start with Blade Man. Again, Blade Man's pattern is fairly straightforward as long as you're fast with your positioning. And Blade Man's level itself is actually one of the easier levels in the game, I would say. Once you get the hang of, well, shooting quickly, especially at the axes that come down on that level. Now, we are going to be able to buy stuff. We can go to the shop if we want to, but I will save that for a few levels from now when I actually have more bolts. So we're going to use Strike Man on Sheep Man. Sheep Man is basically a cloud-based enemy. He'll actually split into multiple cloud types, and you can use Strike Man's reflective ball to bounce around the arena and run into Sheep Man. The gimmick on this level is these platforms that, you know, they buzz a little bit and then they disappear. And that was actually a really bad idea. I did the wrong thing. I don't think this is going to work. I think I tried that before. Yep, no, that does not work. So, yeah, lost an extra life right there, but that's not a big deal. In this game, I typically will have maximum lives by the end of the game. And we've got a little bit of health right here in case we need it, which I don't right now. But it's good to know it's there just in case you do. And we can just jump across here. These shield enemies from Mega Man 4 make a return. And the developers really like these enemies in this game. They are all over the place. So get used to it. Interestingly, if you are playing as base, you can actually use his rapid fire main shot, and their shields will actually come off. Which reveals, you know, their inner core, and you can destroy them completely safely without having to worry about them dive bombing you. So it is interesting how different some enemies work depending on the character that you're playing as. Alright, so this is a mini-boss here. We see this a few times in the game. You have to actually use the conveyor belts. And then I like to mash as quickly as possible. Good, got it in one cycle. You know what's kind of ironic is that I switched over to my PS3 controller originally when I was trying to learn this game. Because I found it a lot easier to button mash. But here I am back on my DualShock 4 controller. And I'm having a much easier time with it. Like, I'm not having issues button mashing at all. Maybe it's just because I've been playing so much Mega Man 10 these last couple weeks. Unfortunately. I was hoping my first QuickPlay would do the trick, and that I'd never have to play the damn game again. Or at least not until I really have the urge to play it. But man, I've been kind of burning out on this game, kind of hardcore. But since I put so much time into it, I didn't want to not do a video. I would have felt extremely bad about myself if I didn't do a video, since I spent all that time practicing it, learning it. I even did a 5-hour stream, rage quit at the end, because I was tired and hungry, and my health issues are screwing with, you know, my ability to stream for long periods of time and things like that. I decided to just, we're gonna go ahead and just kind of force myself to try another run and see what happens. These Yoku blocks here, they're actually pretty easy to deal with on normal mode. I'm not sure what they're like on hard mode, but on normal, there's very little threat, you know, as long as you just kind of like watch what you're doing. So what I want to do is actually jump and land here. A little bit of a puzzle elements. I'd like to get this W tank. That's the weapon tank, the weapon energy tank. And what that does is it allows you to refill the weapon energy of one weapon type. Now the big one in this game is the M tank. The M tank refills all your health, and it also refills all of your weapon energy. And you can get one of those, just like in Mega Man 5, you can have one at a time. And let's go ahead and switch over to the bounce shot. So you can have one M tank at a time, and I typically like to save it for the end of the game. So I'm going to do one here, and then another, and then another. You can have up to 2 of these on screen at once. So what happens is when he's in cloud form, all 4 clouds shoot lightning balls down to the ground. Now the last one always shoots projectiles across the screen. And then he usually shoots a projectile across just like that, and I'm going to wait for him to do his thing. Projectile, boom, dead. Just like that. Thunder Wool. Alright, let's go ahead and save it again. And it's looking like I've got 214 bolts right now. So what I'm going to do is visit the shop. Now, interestingly, the shop actually changes based on the character you're playing as. You go to a different place, I think there's different music. Some of these items actually don't apply to the other characters that you play as. But what I like to get is the energy balancer. What this does is it'll automatically apply weapon energy refills to any weapon that needs it, without you having to cycle over to that weapon like in classic Mega Man. We've got the mystery tank here. Now, I don't actually need to buy this right now because there's actually one on one of the final Wily levels. So what I'm going to do is actually buy a bunch of E-tanks right now. And I'll go ahead and get myself an extra life while I'm at it. Now, some of these other abilities are interesting. You've got an item that will reduce, I think, the amount of damage you take. You can buy this, which removes Mega Man's helmet. You just see his flowing hair, kind of like in some of the classic Mega Man endings. Beat, if you buy that, it's a one-time use item. If you fall into a pit, Beat will come rescue you and take you out of the pit. Same with this, the shock guard. If you land on spikes, you'll actually not die instantly. Eddie call. So Eddie flip top here. You can bring him out and he'll do what he does in classic Mega Man games. So yeah, lots of kind of fun stuff there. That was carried over from Mega Man 9. I believe you could do that in Mega Man 9 as well. And we'll go ahead and save it again. Now we are on, the most modern versions of this game, so there's basically no loading when you need to save. And I don't think there's really loading when you have to save in the 360 version. Not sure about the PS3 one. PS3 always had its weird operating system based saving. So Sheepman. Sheepman's attack is what does some good harm to Pump Man. Now, it is extremely awkward to use, but we're gonna do our best to use it. A lot of times what happens is I run out of ammo with Sheepman's weapon, and then I have to defeat Pump Man with just my Buster after I've done maybe, half of his health bar or something like that. So, okay. Not a terribly difficult level, but there are some interesting mechanics. There's water with water in this game, you do jump in it much higher than you would normally. These little purple things, if you touch them, you start sliding all over the place. Like, basically start experiencing ice physics. Ice physics on not icy areas. And I'm going to switch over to Rush Coil right here just to grab these bolts. Gonna let this shrimp kind of move over to the left a little bit, just to make my life a little bit easier. I'm gonna wait for these to pop up. Now, if you want to jump across here without using a special ability like Rush Coil, you need to time your jumps just right. Two different ways we can go. We can go over to the right here, or we can fall down. I like falling down because there are some goodies that we can get. For instance, I think there's going to be an extra life right down here. Oh, no, it's a bolt. Actually, I mean, that basically pays for an extra life. That's kind of one way to look at it. You got to watch out for those bubbles. They will actually encapsulate you, and then you have to shoot them a bunch of times to be freed. However, there are some bubbles placed here that will send you right into ceiling spikes. So you have to watch out for that. I'm going to actually go ahead and just sit here for a minute. Let this guy go the opposite way. And just follow him up with some shots. Like right here, you see all those ceiling spikes. Now you can jump and, you know, touch them just like Mega Man 2. But the whole gimmick is you running into the bubbles, and then the bubbles sending you into the spikes. So you have to really watch out for that. We're just gonna wait for this one. And look at that, energy tank. That's why I like to take this bottom route, is there are more goodies to pick up. Let's just wait here. Alright. And again, lots of waiting. Alright, boss time. Let's go ahead and switch over to our Thunder Wool. And the way this works is a cloud goes high up you know, towards the top of the screen. You have to position it correctly, and if an enemy runs into it just like that, it disappears. It's honestly a terrible weapon. It's powerful against this guy, but it uses so much weapon energy, and it's too prone to disappearing on you. And we still defeated him with just the boss sub-weapon, which is crazy. Normally what happens is, you know, he absorbs a few of them. I only do about half his health. And even if he doesn't absorb them, he has to be moving into where the lightning strike is. The lightning strikes don't move around the screen. It's dependent on the boss running into it. And sometimes his jumping gets a little erratic and he doesn't move into it. And you end up just wasting tons and tons of ammo. Because it uses like 5 blocks of ammo or something around there. It's a lot of ammo. And we just got ourselves Rush Jet, which is very handy. And it says we have 66 bolts. And so the story in this game is there's this thing called Robo Enza that's going around, and robots get it and get sick. It's one of the dumbest things ever. But that's Mega Man for a nutshell. When you go back, and if you've seen any of my recent playthroughs of like Mega Man 6, you'll realize the Mega Man stories have always been kind of dumb. So I just deal with it. But they've also paired up with Dr. Wily for some reason. And of course, Dr. Wily, you know, tricks him, and he's actually still bad all that time. And whatever, Mega Man story equals dumb. So we're just gonna keep playing and moving on. But Solar Man, this is a pretty cool level. There's some interesting mechanics here. A lot of basic level design, like this first vertical section is actually quite straightforward. It's not that complex. You've got conveyor belts that go in one direction, and nothing too terribly special there. Stuff like we saw in Metal Man's level, in Mega Man 2. These guys can only be hurt when their turrets are open. But these lasers, they shoot out insanely fast. Just taking our time. Alright, jump. And then shoot. Now, there is actually a extra life over here, right out in the open, but you run the risk of getting hit by this set of boxes. And mini-boss time. It's actually a fun mini-boss. You fight this this pair of birds twice over the course of the game. You have to watch out for projectiles coming from the top. Heatman-style projectiles, along with Heatman-style dashing across the screen. Oh, took a hit. That's okay. Not a big deal. Got through that pretty smoothly, which is good. Alright, just gonna take my time here. The timing is a little strict on some of these areas. Like I said, this game it's a tough game. It is not the kind of game where you can really slop your way through. I mean, honestly, maybe as you start earning lots of energy tanks and stuff like that, okay, yeah, maybe you can slop your way through. But when you first start and you don't have any cushion like that, Mega Man 10 is a real pain. Alright, I'm gonna sit up here. Alright, good deal. Now with Rush Coil, you can actually propel yourself all the way up here. So the intended strategy, I think, is for you to come up here, fall down to the left. But that's actually not how you want to do it. And this rightmost ladder is the ladder you want to be on. And I messed that up, unfortunately. So let's wait, start climbing. It's basically that perfect pattern every time, if you time it right. If you wait too long, like I did the first time around, then you'll take a hit. You can also stand right in front of these guys, just like that. There's a few pixels there that actually allow you to do that. And if I wanted to, I probably could have jumped over him. But alrighty. It is Pump Man's weapon that works here. Now this is a water shield. Decent fight, took a hit, but that's okay. But the idea is just to let the entire shield rotate into the boss. And thankfully, despite your Mega Buster in this game not doing that much damage to the bosses, iframes are at a bare minimum in this game, so you can actually mash the fire button. It'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, hits and blocks of life taken off, and it's the same with boss sub weapons. And so, with Pump Man's weapon there, you want to just let the shield just do its thing, just constantly rotate into the boss, and you'll do rapid damage. And it looks like I'm back up to 92 bolts. And so with Solar Man's weapon, we're going to defeat Chill Man with that. Chill Man is a very aggressive boss. I still have a major hard time reading his projectiles and his patterns. And these little snowmen, they like to throw their heads onto the ground, and it splits off into a 4-way shot. And that also happens when they die. And I still fall for it over and over and over again. It's such an easy little thing, yet I still fall for it, so... Now these ice blocks, they crack when you jump on them or when you shoot them. It's either or. So for this part, I'm just gonna fall down. But this one, I want this bolt. Now, there is an extra life down there. I don't think I really need it. Well, at this point, I guess I'm gonna have to... I don't have to grab it, but we'll go ahead and go for it. Alright, so let's see if we can get out of there, and we got it. I got lucky. I like to hold right here to take this top route. Top route is good. We can actually get ourselves a free weapon energy tank here. Just gonna skip these enemies. There we go, weapon energy tank. And I hate these guys. They do a ton of damage, and their jumping pattern seems to be completely random, which I'd say is normally fine, but when you're in a tiny little arena with very little movement room, little room for movement, it's very frustrating when the first thing they do is jump right into you, and you can't do anything about it. There's a lot of that in Mega Man 10, unfortunately. There's always a little bit of that in some Mega Mans, but man, it's much worse in some Mega Mans than others. And this part always gave me a little bit of trouble too when I was first learning this, because you do have ice physics on a lot of this. You slide around, but what I'm going to do is use Rush Jet and just fly over this area, because it is not a good section. It's very easy to run into that guy, have those ice blocks break, and then you fall to your death and go back to a checkpoint, and you have to do it all over again. We're going to pull up our menu here, just to stop the boss in place. Switch over to our Solar Blaze. And how this weapon works is it just kind of sits out in the open until it touches something, or it times out and then splits off. Ideally, what you want to do... got frozen again. So think about this boss, even with your iframes active, you can still get frozen. Your iframes do not protect you from his ice. That's what makes this boss so hard, is it still freezes you even though you're technically invincible. So you can kind of get into a loop where he's just freezing you over and over and over endlessly. So, it's kind of rough stuff. Very tough boss fight. He likes to shoot ice onto the ground and then one up onto the wall behind you, and then he comes in straight at you. And if there's that ice in front of you and the ice behind you on the wall, and then he's coming right at you too, you're probably gonna jump and bump into something. Either him or the ice behind you. It's just, the bosses in this game are really something else compared to, you know, the classic 6 Mega Man games on the NES. So... you'll notice, if you're not too familiar with this game, and you've been paying attention, you probably will have noticed that a lot of these bosses are really fast too, with a lot going on. Much more so than, again, the classic Megas. With a couple of exceptions. Again, I always like to throw out Shadow Man, and then Quick Man in Mega Man 2. But it's the norm in Mega Man 10. It's not the exception to the rule. In Mega Man 10, the bosses are really quick, compared to classic Mega Man bosses. And if you're just playing as Mega Man, it's really difficult to deal with. But we have these vehicles we have to jump on top of. I definitely want that bolt. Again, those big ones, that's 20. That's a lot. These guys, you want to smack them on their shield. It pushes them back a little bit. So as long as you're just shooting their shield, they'll basically stay back from a distance, and you won't have to deal with them too much. Now we got cars that come from behind. So this one you can just ride all the way down. Now with other characters, you can actually take the top route. With Bass in particular. You can fly up to the top and just ignore this car section almost completely. Now there are a couple of these parts where Mega Man can get up top as well. But, it's kind of hard to do. There are only a couple sections here that you can really get on top, where it's like, it seems like it's by design. We have an extra life as well. What I like to do is just use Rush Coil here, instead of trying to predict the car. Just use Rush Coil quickly. Alright. Now this is actually an area where I believe we can, get up top. And I'm kind of messing this up. Switch over to Rush Coil, and there we go, we're up top. I don't have to get up top, but we get rewarded with an energy tank. Just like that. Ooh, that was That was not good, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. We have plenty of health. After coming off a totally failed Proto Man run, I'm actually feeling pretty good about some of this damage taken. And let's go ahead and use Rush Jet here. I'm going to jump up and grab this. And let's see if I can come out and jump. Nice, I got it. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is come up here, get this weapon tank, and we do it again. Oh, we got it. Nice. I'm going to go ahead and grab this energy, even though I don't think I need it. And same thing as before, shoot him on the shield. Oh, alright. Alright, switching over to our ice. Using our shoulder keys to cycle through that time. And when he goes into motorcycle form, we want to put the ice on the ground. When he's not in motorcycle form, we want to try to destroy these other blades he throws at us. Now, if you shoot him directly, you just freeze him, which only does 1 block of health. So ideally, he goes into his motorcycle form and he lands on the spikes that are up off the ground. Or coming from the ground, I should say. If you shoot him directly, it takes forever to kill him. So what I like to do is do a combination of spiking him in his motorcycle form and then shooting the blades when they come down. You can destroy the blades with the ice. Now, I don't know if it's possible to destroy the blades with anything else. But the ice is the weakness, so you might as well do it with the ice. Alright, so we got the wheel cutter. I'm gonna go ahead and save it again. Whoops. And we have 186 bolts. Now, this is our last opportunity to buy anything with those bolts. And so what I'm going to do is buy some E-tanks. And let's go ahead and show off helmetless Mega Man. We'll get a couple extra lives. And weapon tank. Looks like I'm maxed out on extra lives, actually. And so what I'll do is, just for fun, I will buy beats. It might even come in handy. Now we'll go ahead and save it again. And I believe we only have one more Robot Master, and then we're on to Wily's levels. So this is Commando Man. Alright, I'm gonna say, is there anything I can do here that's interesting that would work for this first part? I'm not gonna worry about it. There are these green robots that come out here, and they try to drop bombs onto these little sensors, these little mines. They open up gaps in the ground, just like that, and they make it harder to progress here. Alright, we have a couple different ways we can go here. We can take the top route if we want, or we can take the bottom route. We're going to go the bottom route. And we're going to hug this left wall. Just sit here. Shield guy doesn't come all the way up to it, thankfully. But this one does. So you just want to kind of get behind it and follow it. Be shooting in the process. And now we have our first major gimmick here, is we have sandstorms, which push you in the direction that the sand is moving. We also have objects that come up out of the ground, like in, say, Mega Man 4. Ooh, not what I was expecting. And there's Beat. Oh, look at that. Beat. No, Beat, why did you do that? Why did you do that? So apparently you have to actually control Mega Man manually there with Beat. And I failed to do so, and I hit the jump button too early, which released me. So, that's a good example of what not to do when you've got Beat. So we will have to try that again, unfortunately. That's okay. That was not a horribly bad run up to that point. That was our first death, I think. So, we'll go ahead and do this route again. Oops, what am I doing here? Little trick here you can do, and actually, no, that doesn't work here. Let's see if we can jump. Nope, not enough. If we can put Rush Coil on the edge here, just like NES Mega Man, we can actually kind of finagle our way upwards like that. Nice little trick. Works really well in the NES games in particular because of how the hitboxes work in those games. Alright, let's hope for the best here. Just let go of my controls. I've got a little wall right in front of me. So for this part, I'm going to do the same thing again, but this time I'm going to actually just wait for these things. There we go, just like that. Tricky section. I mean, the sandstorms are tricky to deal with, not gonna lie. Ideally, what you do with the sandstorms is you look for some kind of wall that you can just hold against. And if you're able to do that, you can literally just keep moving forward against that wall, and the sandstorm will basically be of no threat to you. Like right here. We want to wait, just hold right. Just wait for it to pass, and then we're good. Go ahead and just jump and grab that extra life. Don't need to use any special items. And again, just hold right here. It's honestly, this can be a fairly gimmicky game sometimes, but I like this gimmick. It actually kind of forces me to think out of the box when I'm playing this section. And there's another section coming up, which is kind of risky, but you can actually sort of speedrun your way through this part. And I kind of messed it up, but it's really satisfying. You can just like blow right through this section by going with the wind. It's actually it's pretty cool. And so I could actually use Rush Coil right here if I wanted to, or I could just wait for the sandstorm to push me through. Nothing I can do here in this part. I really gotta figure out if there's a better way to, you know, fight that guy, like with a special sub-weapon or something like that. Some parts with those guys, I just use Rush Jet and just go over them. Alright, so we're gonna use our blade here, which can destroy his projectiles, which is actually quite nice. You have to be very careful when he slams into the ground. He stuns you, kind of like Guts Man. There we go. Not a great fight, but I mean, some of the bosses in this game I still really struggle with in terms of fighting them, defeating them damageless, like without taking any hits or anything. But that does it for the 8 core Robot Masters. Now we're on to Wily's Castle. Now, Wily's Castle's levels can be a little on the long side, but it's just one castle, unlike some of the later NES Mega Man games. And it actually flows okay. I think it's actually a decent set of Wily levels. It doesn't really overstay its welcome too much. It's not too bad. And what I meant by this would be that would have been our last opportunity to go to the shop. I meant that as in, I'm not going to have any more money, because you don't really get many bolts on that level. So I only have 14. I can't really do anything with 14 except buy Eddie. So we might as well just buy Eddie. Use the last of our bolts. And then do stage select. And Mega Man gets the Robo-Enza! Oh no! Rush comes out, heals him, and cool. On to Wily's lair. Alright, first part's a little dreary. And we have one of these big dudes here. Now that guy will land there in a very specific way to where you're just far enough off the screen from where he spawned to where you will destroy him and he will immediately respawn right in front of you. A little frustrating enemy placement in some areas of this game with how easily they can respawn. But yeah, now we have a boss here we have to fight 3 times. It basically takes these sort of orb-looking things and applies previous boss weapons to them. So this is Gemini Man's attack. And we just have to shoot these guys. And this is Woodman. It's a pretty cool concept, actually. I think it's one of the better bosses in the game. And we've got Elec Man. And these patterns don't really change. I'm not playing to them very well, unfortunately. Very poorly, actually. There we go. What I'm going to do, instead of using an extra life, I'm going to use an E-Tank, since I have a ton of them. I've paid for them, so I'm, you know, I deserve to use them, right? Alright, we're just gonna fall down. Now remember, I never bought a M-Tank, but we are going to get one later on in the Wily's levels. I'm gonna take this route. This alternate route is usually the better route to take. Do this again. Alright, another alternate route. A lot of different ways you can go in some of these areas. Oops, I didn't think he was going to go all the way across the screen. But that's okay, we still got ourselves an extra life, which we didn't actually get, because we already have the maximum. So if you don't hear a jingle when you pick up an item like that, it means that you're already capped out. You can't hold any more. Alright, boss number 2. Now, some of these guys read your inputs, like Napalm Man here from Mega Man 5. So what I do is, when I see Napalm Man pop up, I start tapping in one direction, so it appears on that side of me that I want him to. Alright, Ring Man from Mega Man 4. Jump over the rings. Flame Man. Flame Man again. Alright, Napalm Man, tapping to the left. Ring Man. Napalm Man is the only one of that set that reads your inputs. And there is another boss in the next set that'll also do the same thing. And it was very frustrating to learn. Knowing that bosses would actually do that, they would actually read your inputs. Some Mortal Kombat 2 AI right there. Not ideal for a Mega Man game, if you ask me. Actually makes me wonder if there are other Mega Man games that read your inputs. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head, and I'm kind of drawing a blank. Let's go ahead and drop down here. And we've got this extra life that I also don't need, but we'll grab it anyway, just to make ourselves feel special. Can jump through that. It's a little tricky. You can also jump on all these guys' heads, which is kind of funny. They kind of make a grimace whenever you jump on top of them. Nice little, humorous touch. Now these guys, you can also shoot their turrets off, but what I usually do is I just shoot the bottom part, because that's the dangerous part. Because they come at you really fast, and what I prefer to do is just get rid of them as quickly as possible. Then the turrets fly backwards, and, you know, they go off the screen, and I'm okay with that. Alright, last set. Alright, so for this guy, he just shoots ice out on the ground. You just jump over it. Now this guy also reads your inputs. So when he spawns in, you need to be, you know, like, tapping it in one direction. So you manipulate where he appears, basically. And you can jump over his slash. And there he is again. Alright, now this guy, you can fly all the way up into the air. Probably the easiest of the bunch, as long as you can dodge these, his projectiles. He's gonna come out again. Alright, got it. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay, this level can be a little tricky, but if you know what to do, it's not too bad, honestly. We've got these guys again. So I'm going to do rush coil, jump up to this top part. And the reason I'm taking this top way is to avoid that that shield guy down below, but get myself a weapon tank at the same time. And then I can grab a life, which I don't need right now. Another one of those guys. Let's come on up here. Another shield guy. And I'm going to use this explosive attack. Just like that. Switch back to rush coil. Jump straight up. Switch back over to my main Mega Buster. Jump on this ice once. Only once. And then you can just sit there in safety. Alright, I believe we have our fire birds again. I could probably use the ice attack on them if I really wanted to, but I'm not going to. Just gonna play normally. Oops. I don't know how that popped up. I'm trying to remember, like, how that menu pops up. I didn't actually really press anything, which is weird. Yeah, something I didn't mention is you can actually bring up this menu. This is for Legacy Collection 2, and you can actually make a save state if you want. And you also have like background options and stuff like that, and a couple of screen settings. Just something that's good to note. It's one reason why this is the best way to play Mega Man's 9 and 10, is you have more options to work with, and the picture overall looks a lot more crisp than it does if you're playing the original 360 versions, especially if you're playing them via backwards compatibility on something like an Xbox One. So this part is all about just waiting. But you can use ice on these little guys. And we're gonna wait on this too, just to play it safe. Switch over to rush coil. There we go. Alright, same thing as before. What I'm going to do is try to destroy just one of these guys. If you destroy both, then they both respawn at the same time. Nice. One cycle again. And this is where we can get our M-Tank. Right here. Can we get it? No, we missed it. Not a big deal. I don't think I'm going to need it. But it would be nice if I had it. Now I could also use Rush Jet right here, just to get across a little bit easier. And what I will do is cycle back, jump up like that, try to get rid of this guy, and I'm going to use Rush Coil. Now I'm up top for an extra life that I don't need. Some health up here as well. Now this guy, you don't want to actually destroy him completely. You just want to chop out some of the blocks in his totem pole. And I'm going to play this safe and just use Rush Jet. Just to work my way across easily. And I'm going to immediately jump up like this. And now I'm going to wait for this one. I'm going to take my time. gonna play it safe. Actually, what I'm gonna do is use Rush Jet right here, because I've actually messed up this jump. And I've fallen back onto the spikes, which is... Oh, you gotta be kidding me, dude. How you gotta be kidding me. There's just something about this level where by the time I get to it, I'm burnt out and I'm not focusing the way that I should. So we have to do all that over again. All that over again. Let's just make it happen. Same thing as before. Rinse and repeat. And now, this part is nice if, you know, you can do it, if you can really mash well. Get that one cycle kill. But hey, at least we have a second chance at the M-Tank. Let's see if we can do it. Got it. Hey, well I guess that worked out. We have an M-Tank now. And I will take the bottom route because the extra life is gone. Alright, and same thing as before. It's actually really hard to jump between those spikes, by the way, if you destroy that totem. So that's one reason why it's good to not destroy the totem. Alright, I'm gonna do the same. Are you serious? The pattern changed? I am so confused. I thought the pattern was the same every time you got up there. Apparently not. So, third time's the charm. I will say this is one of the things about having so many goodies in my arsenal, like energy tanks and extra lives and stuff like that, that I can get lazy because of it. But at least they give you the opportunity to do it. Like, you don't have to buy thousands of E-Tanks. The game's not here twisting your arm saying, hey, you have to do this. But, I mean, when you can, why wouldn't you? But I can also get a little complacence as a result. And complacency on a level like this is not good. Do not want to be complacent here. Now see if we can do this. You can actually jump across just like that. It's a very tight jump. Alright, we're just gonna wait. We're gonna wait. Alright, there we go. And we will wait again. Oh my god, why did I do that? This is horrible, man. We had such a decent run, and it's just completely going downhill because of this stupid level. And it's not even that hard of a level. You just have to pay attention, that's it. And I am not. I'm doing really dumb things. Well, at least I get to show off this light bulb boss for the, 15th time. And we're definitely not going to get a one cycle this time. Oh, we did! We still got the one cycle, jeez. I thought my mashing had to be absolutely flawless, and it was not. Alright, let's do this again. It's nice hearing that extra life jingle for once, though. See, now this is putting me on edge. This is like our 5th try. on a section that's ultimately not that hard. It's actually probably one of the easier parts in the game, if you ask me. Like these crushers, I mean. It's a really awkward place to die. Alright, gonna play it safe again. Man. Alright, there you go. And we're gonna do the same thing once more. Jump over. Now, there is actually some goodies up here. Nice little secret. Along with an extra life. I believe it's an extra life. Okay, I believe this is the box devil. Actually, no, that might come after this. Yeah, that comes after this. I don't remember the name of this boss, but this is actually kind of a fun boss. And that works really well, apparently. I was actually just experimenting there. So we're gonna go ahead and just use our buster for this part. We have to watch out for these bubbles that come out. And we just need to hit the derpy little eyeballs. Alright, bubble time. And that really wants to attack me. Now, the reason I use Blade Man's weapon on the bottom ones is it's actually kind of an interesting boss sub-weapon. It's 3 blades, and every blade will actually do damage separately from the other ones, even if the other ones connect. In a lot of games, if you have a 3-way shot like that, it might only do damage with one of the blades, and then the others would just get absorbed because the enemy goes immediately into iframes. But with Blade Man's weapon, it doesn't work like that. So you can actually get up close to some of those, like those claws, use Blade Man, and you're doing 3 hits with 1 shot, which is quite nice. Whoops, I did not mean to use the bubbles. I wanted to use ice. I'm trying to cycle through my weapons here just to get rid of those ground guys. Now you can freeze some of these enemies, but they just kind of sit in place. They don't freeze like into the position that they were in, like say mid-air. Like one thing I like about Iceman's weapon in Mega Man 1 is enemies that jump into the air, they will stay in the air if you freeze them in the air. It would have been really cool if they did that with the ice weapon in this. But no, you freeze them and they drop to the ground if they're in the air, so... So for this part, I actually really like taking the right-hand side. If you take the left-hand side, you are more likely to run into those enemies. And then you can actually end up getting crushed on the spikes. And it'll actually count as being crushed, not touching spikes. Now, spikes in this game kill you instantly, but if you have invincibility frames active, they don't kill you. You can walk in them for that split second. Being crushed, on the other hand, iframes don't save you from being crushed. So for anyone that doesn't know what iframes are, those are invincibility frames. When you take damage in some games, usually a character will blink or he'll have some other visual indicator letting you know that you can't actually die until you come out of that, that little period of invincibility frames. And for Mega Man, it's when you're blinking. It's usually about 2 to 3 seconds. Yeah, usually 2 to 3 seconds of room to where you can do things like touch spikes or run into other bullets and not actually take any more damage and not die. It's really significant on spikes though, like that right there. I took a hit, I landed on the spikes, and I survived. Whereas if I had just landed on the spikes without taking damage first, I would have died instantly. Alright, weapon refill. Alright, now this is the block devil. No, not yet. I keep thinking we're going to a boss fight, but in reality, it's just another one of these. Let me actually cycle back. Now in this one, I can take the left-hand route. It's that first one where... Oh, and we were gonna get crushed because I ran into an enemy like an idiot. Man, this run has gotten really sloppy in these Wily stages. Like, you know, what's funny is, like, when I first learned this game, I just ripped through these Wily levels on subsequent playthroughs. Actually, even on my first playthrough, I think I ripped through the Wily stages. Like, they really didn't pose much of a challenge for me. But now that I've played through the game 6 times or 7 times, I'm really struggling with it for some reason. It's odd. So, whatever. It is what it is. Mega Man 10 is the kind of game that will wear you out. It's got so many like little gimmicks and stuff like that. It's just been very difficult for me to wrap my head around this one compared to a lot of the other Mega Man games. It definitely has a different kind of ebb and flow to it than a lot of the Mega Man titles that I've played. Classic Megas, I should say. Alright, I'm gonna try this again. There we go. Yeah, part of the problem is I just got ahead of myself here. I'm like, oh, boss fight time. I switched over to the weapon I needed, and... and nope, not good. I'm just gonna take it nice and easy here. Nice and easy. It's not that hard. Just kind of watch where I can go. Watch for the gaps in the bullets, too. Alright. Alright, still have this last section. Honestly, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever to get that extra life. Switch over to Rush Coil. Alright, good deal. The timing on your jumps there have to be so tight because those lasers come out ridiculously fast. And we're going to cycle over to our missile that we can control the direction of. Get ourselves another energy tank, which we actually did not need. I'm a little sad now. Alright, we're going to switch over to Blade Man. Now, this is our block double. And for this fight, what I found is it's actually pretty beneficial to just kind of stand over around here. There are a couple of times where you have to jump out of the way and, you know, in order to avoid some of these blocks. But in a lot of cases, you can just stand here and then come in between right here, jump straight up, and then there we go. Now, unfortunately, it's a little bit harder when they come back out. I am terrible at this. I don't know the pattern the way I would like to. Alright, we're gonna have to E-tank our way through this. Alright, go back. T-Blade. And I jumped. Shouldn't have jumped. Oh, he's going this way. Okay. Alright, we're gonna have to use a weapon tank as well. Which I generally don't like doing here, but, I mean, I feel like I don't really have much of a choice. So, same thing again. I'm just gonna stand on this block. There we go. Now the blade attack is, you know, for that boss, it's good at parts, but when the boss is too high up, you can't actually hit him with the blade because when you jump and attack, the blade goes downwards, not up. So it's kind of a tricky weapon to use. It's easy to be like, oh, okay, let me just jump and attack, and then realize, you know, too late. Oh, the blades go down. Alright, so we're actually very close to the end of the game. Basically what we have is... This is going to be our boss refights, which is typical Mega Man. And then we'll fight Wily once. And we still have max extra lives after all that. That's insane. I died so many times on that level, yet I'm still maxed out on extra lives. I don't deserve to have that many extra lives. I played so poorly. Ugh. That's actually what, you know, some people have told me several times, actually, that, you know, they enjoy this style of video because, like, I don't master everything, even though I'd love to. And the intent was to play Mega Man 10 way better than I have, but, you know, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and use the water shield here. Alright, got it. Grab the life pellet, and then you get thrown back out to the arena. Alright, Sheep Man. Now, if you play as base, you can actually just shoot the Sheep Man down. I guess you don't really shoot him down, but you can actually destroy his clouds, even with just the standard, you know, Buster shot for base. So, kind of misused my, my projectiles, but that's okay. Not a big deal. So when I first learned this, I would only use one bouncy projectile at a time, and that seems to be the way to go. But I discovered, actually just recently, that you can actually use 2 projectiles at once, and so I started getting a little more risky and trying to throw more out. Alright, back to Sheep Man's weapon again. Hopefully we can get some decent damage like we did last time. Yeah, just look at that jumping. It's just like, sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low, sometimes I'm going to go under it. Come on. Thank you. Ugh. I mean, I guess it's fair that it's difficult using that boss weakness on him, considering how much damage it does, but, it's a little frustrating. Alright, there we go. And back to ice. Alright, there's one. Just one. Yeah, one of the problems about having the ice on the ground already is that, you can't use your attack again until it goes away. So that actually put me at a disadvantage when he was throwing all those projectiles at me. My ice was already on the ground, and I couldn't actually use ice to destroy the projectiles. But some of these bosses just have so much RNG. Like, I've had fights where he goes into his motorcycle form, like, the entire fight. That's all he does. And then other times where, you know, he goes into it for one cycle, or one phase or whatever you want to call it. He goes across the screen once, and then he zips right back into his crazy mode, where he's throwing all these projectiles at you, and it's just so hard to read. And these guys are so fast, especially if you're playing as Mega Man. Alright, so we're going to actually use our explosive shot here. You know, at first I thought this shot really wasn't that good for this fight, but if you just worry about using it on the side walls, left and right, not the ceiling, then it's actually a little more handy than it seems. Let's see. We have a boss where I want to say this is actually the weakness. I'm gonna jump on these missiles. And what I want to do is actually use my M-Tank now to get all my weapon energy back. I needed my water shield anyway. And now I can go back to using my fire attack. Switch over to our water. Let's see if Wily will just come down into it. Sort of. Nice. Not too bad, actually. Alright, what I'm going to do is use one of these. To get him like that. That was okay, that was pretty satisfying, I have to admit. They saw one block of health, I only needed to do one block of damage, and so it's like, let's bust out the missile I can control manually. And drive it into Wily's face. Alright, last level. This is kind of a straightforward level, it's not too complicated. And funny enough, we can actually get ourselves another M-Tank here. So using it at that Wily fight was actually fine. It's honestly kind of odd that they give you an M-Tank on this level. Because this Wily fight, honestly, I think it's, might even be a little bit easier than the other one. Alright, we have 9 lives. I'm not going to bother with that extra life. It's not going to do me any good. Alright, we will switch back over to our missile. Alright, M-Tank. Alright, more drills. Mega Man 2 style. Just kind of taking my time here. It's very easy to accidentally run into these things. And I'm just gonna fall down here like that. Another E-Tank. Another weapon tank. Well, this is probably the lead up to Wily. Yep. There's a little cubby right here. Is where you would spawn in if you died, I believe. Alright, so you can actually kill Wily with just your standard Buster Shot, but what I'm going to do is actually switch over to Ice. That is the weakness. Now these projectiles sort of home in on you twice. Then Wily does a projectile across the screen. Kind of like that. Ugh. The direction they go is just seems to be very random. But, hey, we still got it. We didn't have to use an energy tank or anything, which was cool. But, yeah, like I said, I feel like that fight can be a little bit easier than the previous Wily fight I did. There's less to it, basically. He only does 2 attacks there, so... it could be difficult to read, but for the most part, I think it's easier to work with, so... Alright. Dr. Wily naturally escapes the hospital but leaves loads of Robo-Enza behind. Not Robo-Enza, but the antidote. The cure. But there we go. That is Mega Man 10, ladies and gentlemen. Almost an hour and a half with all the times I died. So, but hey, at least we finally have a Mega Man 10 video on my channel. I'm gonna eventually start working on Mega Man 11, but man, after this game, I'm not sure if I want to. This game has taken it out of me. It has taken it out of me. I mean, I've had some other stuff going on in my life, this last month in particular, that has really sucked me dry. It's just worn me out. You know, doctor stuff and all that stuff, and it's been more difficult to actually sit down and record videos like this and have the energy and to do it and play well and focus well and stuff like that. I normally try to play as best as I can. I try to focus as well as I can, but recently it's been increasingly more difficult to do so. But I'd say about 75% of the playthrough was okay. You guys saw some strategies that could probably help you through the first 8 Robot Masters. The showing at Wily's castle, not that great, unfortunately, so sorry about that. But at least you got to see what can potentially go wrong there if you're not paying attention or not playing safe. But yeah, that is Mega Man 10. If you guys have any questions or comments about the game, feel free to post them down below. I'm not really an expert at this game by any stretch. Like I said, I just learned it in the last couple of weeks. And, you know, it was quite the journey for me from start to finish, even up until now. If you guys have any tips that make certain parts of the game easier, let me know. Yeah, feel free to drop some comments down below and share your thoughts. But yeah, don't expect any other playthroughs of this game anytime soon. I think I am pretty much done with Mega Man 10. I don't know when I'll go back to it, if ever. Someone had suggested actually doing a hard mode run with Proto Man, and I don't know. Probably not gonna happen. Because I'm burnt out on this game right now. But, yeah, that's gonna do it for me, guys. I think I'm out of here. I don't have much else to say. It's been a journey. Hopefully, it's been worth it, and you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know if it was worth it, actually, but, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. But, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This credits roll is actually really long. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and end the video early. It's just this until the end. There's not really anything else that you see, so... But great ending theme, at least. Probably my favorite tune in the game. It's a really, really good, uplifting, you know, good tune for an ending. It's solid, so. But yeah, that's it. That's it, guys. I'm out. Thanks again so much for watching. If you made it to this point, let me know down below. If you're new to my channel and you like this sort of stuff, feel free to subscribe. I've got a lot of videos like this, and probably more to come. And for everyone already subbed, thanks for your usual support. Until the next one, take it easy.